On the show today, we have Northwest Credit Union Association's President and CEO, Troy Stang, actually reporting live from the Washington State Capitol on their latest economic report showing the tremendous impact the credit unions in the Northwest are having in the area. So check it out. Hey everybody, Mike Lawson here with CU Broadcast. Welcome to our show. And on today's program, we have Mr. Troy Stang from Northwest Credit Union Association. How are you, Troy?
I'm doing great, and I'm dialing in live from Olympia, Washington, on the steps of our state capitol.
Awesome.
Busy week in Olympia. Yes, this is a busy week. This is a credit union week, first week of session, and we just had our first hearing in the House of Representatives on our credit union bill, so it's got a lot of energy happening in this city.
Sure sounds like it. And you are bouncing around the Northwest doing all this stuff. So we appreciate all the hard work that you're putting out there. And you're actually conveying kind of one of your latest economic reports from the Northwest, Eco Northwest. You guys performed an independent analysis documenting credit unions' impact or their economic impact in the Northwest. And the numbers, Troy, are off the charts. What is it? $7.8 billion boost in the region's economies? Holy smokes. What's going on up there?
$7.8 billion because of not-for-profit, member-driven credit unions, and we're extremely proud of the credit unions in the Northwest. You know, that sort of economic number ranks right up in there with major universities and some of the major employers and brands that are household names here from the Northwest. So we're extremely proud of that, and this is our third round of doing these economic reports, and you know, in the shadow of the Capitol Dome, especially, I think just underscores the fact of the importance of credit unions, talking about why they exist and the importance to the economy in such a way that elected officials and media and the state really understands. You know, we as credit unions went to our public policy officials across the nation, in Washington, D.C., and in the state, asking for these cooperative charters, and that comes with a promise and a really a requirement on our part to make sure we go back and tell them if the cooperative charter, the credit union charter, is working, and yeah, that $7.8 billion of economic impact only happens because of the direct member benefit, and you know it, and many of your listeners know it, and that is credit unions' corporate profits get divvied up amongst the members and the membership in real tangible value, and that direct member benefit equates in the Northwest to over $600 million.
Holy smokes!
600 million.
Those are some serious numbers. I mean, this is nothing to sneeze at for sure. And credit unions and the impact up there. And so it's no wonder you have the governor's ear because credit unions are, I mean, I think the last time we spoke at Max, the market share was 55% or something like that up in the Northwest in the states of Oregon, Idaho, and Washington. So what's in the secret sauce up there? What's the secret?
You know, there's certainly a cooperative vibe in the landscape, in the culture of the Northwest. Folks in the community understand how to do things together for the betterment of their community and themselves. Electric co-ops exist. The grocery stores. There's tons of co-op grocery stores and credit unions, which are part of the lifeblood of, you know, the common day household conversation, kitchen table conversation of when you think financial services, you think credit union, top of mind. So at least for 55% of the consumers, and I certainly want to come back to that in just a bit as well.
Sure. Hey, now you mentioned before that that credit unions, their economic impact is comparable to large universities and companies. So what's the unique economic impact that they are having as well as member benefits? What's the uniqueness there that makes them stand out?
Well, this economic process and this measurement measures the jobs, measures the economic output, and income supported by credit unions across the region. And so you start with the fact that there's almost 200 credit unions serving 55% of the population, employ almost 25,000 people, and for every job that's inside of a credit union, there's other jobs created outside to support the credit union as well. And so having that economic engine be a business in the community, i.e. the credit union in this case, but it's direct member benefits, the 55% of the population benefiting directly. You know, when you, as a household, have additional financial benefit, almost $100 per year in your wallet, that means you're able to spend that dollar in the local grocery store, in the hardware store, or help nurture your savings. All of that is a ripple effect, if you will, in the community. And so if you take the $600 million of direct cooperative credit union benefit paid to the members, and calculate its ripple effect, add on the jobs, add on the output that credit unions do, that's where the $7.8 billion of impact to the communities it comes about.
And yeah, those are some serious numbers. And you talked about jobs. So the impact of credit union jobs was also impressive in this study. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know, you've got the W-2 jobs inside credit union, and certainly those jobs have grown in sophistication and complexity and education that's needed in the talent development space inside of credit unions. But for every job that's inside of a credit union, the outside job impact, whether that's the maintenance on the building and the contractors and the jobs that are created because that business exists on Main Street, is also calculated in this report, which is a similar calculation to, again, the other types of industry sectors that do these economic reports. So universities and hospital systems have that same sort of multiplier effect, if you will.
Very cool. And so why is it important to kind of share this analysis with elected officials where you are right now? Why is it so significant to share these numbers, these stats, these stories to these folks?
Well, yeah, you know, 100 years ago, when credit unions first came to our nation, there wasn't many options in organizing finance. The traditional banking model was a for-profit entity, and the introduction of a not-for-profit, member-owned cooperative that we know as credit unions in the United States came with a promise, and that is we weren't going to enrich Wall Street, but instead ensure that the membership base was the benefit. And credit unions prove that day in and day out. This time of year, we see a lot of the trade press covering the releases about credit unions doing a bonus dividend or a year-end dividend to their members. And that's a great dollars and cents and symbolic way of really hammering down the message that these are cooperatives that are paying dividends. But an economic report like this captures all the economic delivery throughout the entire year. That shows up in things such as rates and fees and services, and keeping the credit union relevant and modern day in and day out to serve the needs. So all of that's all encompassed in these economic reports. To your question of why it's important, if the folks under the Capitol Dome in the legislature gave the original authority to credit unions to operate with the promise that they deliver those real tangible values, I feel as an industry, it's our obligation to come back to them on a regular basis and telling them the model is working. The concept of cooperative finance is working, and it's delivering value, real tangible value, not to Wall Street, but to Main Street and to the consumers and membership and communities where these elected officials also come from. And so they see their credit unions on Main Street back home.
I think 2019 is going to be a very interesting year, especially with these numbers that you just reported, along with CUNA's Open Your Eyes campaign. I think they're both really going to complement each other, and it's going to be really interesting, especially in the second half of the year when you really get to see the results of all of this movement, all of these efforts come together. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, you started this conversation acknowledging the great membership penetration credit unions have in the Northwest, about 55% of the consumers. And I've got to look, sometimes you got to look in the rearview mirror to understand where you came from before you can look ahead through the windshield. And just listen to these statistics. In Idaho alone, in the last, since 2017, their credit union membership is growing 3 times as fast as the state's population. 3 times as fast. In Oregon and Washington, over the past 2 years, there's been 14% membership growth, 4 times that of the population growth, which are impressive numbers. And yet, when I hop in my car and I visit with my neighbors, there's people who do not understand what a credit union is. And so while we brag about the penetration, there are those consumers who are not putting credit unions in their consideration set. And I'm so excited for the nationwide effort and our regional focus on Open Your Eyes. We believe there are several nuggets in there that can help those consumers really understand and consider credit unions when they're making that next economic decision in their household. I just came from a meeting with the Washington governor, and we were talking about the federal government shutdown and furloughed employees, and how many of Main Street's consumers and households are budgeting paycheck to paycheck. And any sort of disruption like that causes people really to ask who are they doing business with, and who is that financial trusted partner. And I think it's just a beautiful time to really place credit unions front and center in that consumer's mindset.
Yeah, I think credit unions are kind of doing their part and keeping the economy moving, even though there's a shutdown on the federal level. So I think it's good to see credit unions really leading the way there, and then spreading that message to the folks in that building behind you as well. So I mean, telling the stories and then sharing the numbers as well, which will really raise some eyebrows. I think it's a very comprehensive, very powerful message as well. So and it sounds like it's resonating quite well in that building behind you as well.
It is. It absolutely is. And like I said, as we started this conversation, just this week, the legislatures opened, frankly, in most states across the nation, but in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. And just yesterday, we had our House hearing and the elected officials. And there's a big churn amongst those elected officials, 20-30% of new faces in those seats. And it's a fresh, new opportunity to educate those folks on what is a credit union, why is a credit union a choice in the financial marketplace, and what purpose we fill, and how we do that.
Yeah, what a great opportunity this is. Great opportunity. Well, Troy, I'll let you get back to work. I know you got a lot on your plate, so appreciate the time that you gave us and your live report from the Capitol in Washington, the state of Washington. This is really cool. I like the background. Really good stuff.
And it's not raining today.
It's not raining. You can get an economic report and a weather report all in one with Troy Stang.
Hey, thanks so much for your interest, and I'll let you do, Mike.
All right, Troy, thanks, and thank you as well for all the hard work you guys do. Keep up the good work, and then we'll see you probably in a month or so at the GAC, right?
In the other Washington. Looking forward to it.
Washington.
See you there.
Troy, thanks again. Appreciate the time.